A lot of data sources interact with an API, and for this we need an HTTP connection set it up into our DataMiner protocol definition. Now it's actually not so difficult to do this, so let's have a look at a small example. So the first thing, of course, we need to define that our connection will be HTTP. I'm going to communicate using this communication protocol. Now let's go again to our structure via the DIS tree. Normal cases, I'm going to retrieve information on a regular basis. I would like to update the info. So I'm going to have a timer indicated in there. Now in this example, I keep referring to on a regular basis, I'm going to update my info, but it could be I'm going to click on a button and do something. So instead of a timer, it would then be a param, click on a button, and will trigger the same logical flow. So in this case, I have a timer. It's every 10 seconds. I would like to retrieve times from Europe and some other time zones as well. So I have a group here, in group 10, my to-do, what would I like to achieve is a communication that goes on to get the times from Europe. So it's about HTTP, so I'm going to set up a session. Let's have a look at the session, and the session I'm going to indicate what I need to do. So you can see that I have a request section in here. Request, I'm going to get, for instance, the Amsterdam time from a specific URL, and I'm going to retrieve the information. Well, it's quite simplistic to put it as a request, a response, but that's actually just it. I'm going to inform my DataMiner, this is what I would like to get or post or whatever command I would like to do, and I would like to retrieve it. I don't need to define how it should look like and so on. I'm just going to retrieve the raw information in a variable. So PID means place whatever you receive, could be a JSON format, could be XML format. I'm going to store this into the param 20. Now the status codes, for instance, I get an OK or a timeout indication. The status code will be stored in the param 10. So this helps me to, for instance, add some extra logic or checks. Please check the status code before you're going to process the retrieved information. Basic concept, I'm going to create the request as it should be, as I have for my API. It's defined like this. And I'm going to indicate this is the response, place it there. Now, this doesn't mean I have my information already nice and readable and useful on my screen. And for this, of course, I need to process it. So you can see my raw information, param 20, the raw information of my response is just text. Going to process this as soon as something is entered. I'm gonna go to my quick action to process this. Now this is just a C# part. I'm not going to dive into how quick actions work and how you can format or create something, but basically it would be the same as you would make your own application, your console, to test something. I'm going to retrieve the information or the raw information. I'm going to translate it and make sure it is available. So in this case, I have a request, get the Amsterdam zone, time zones or the times, and I'm going to display them somewhere. So in my quick action, I have logic, translate it, place it somewhere. This means I have next to these params some display params. You can see here I have my current time, Amsterdam. For instance, this is the time in Amsterdam. So I have my request towards an API, get the time from Amsterdam. It's going to translate it, and it will set it into this variable. Same for Lisbon, same for New York, it's the same structure. So when we have a look to the HTTP section, we will see the same things popping up. It's the same API, it's just indicating, this case it's Lisbon, then I have New York and another one for Hong Kong. So it's the same structure, it's very easy, same structure as you would make your own connection or mock the connection or test it. It's what is available in the API. The structure I'm going to define it here. You can see I can add 2 different connections listed into one session, which is quite useful. I can open up one session. Maybe you need some credentials. I'm going to retrieve the New York time and the Hong Kong time in the same session. Let's start from the beginning. Again, I have timer, different groups. I can retrieve all this information every 10 seconds. In my group, I have a session. Now in this example, I just have one session. I can add multiple sessions as well. Keep in mind, the longer the to-do list, the longer you are busy, the longer you're blocking things. So the purpose is to have a nice and quick interaction. I can still cancel something. So keep in mind, how long does this session take? How long does it take to interact with this API? It could be that it's very quick, it's just receiving a time, or it could be I'm really going to ask this API to do something for me, create a specific ticket, research something, I don't know, get into touch with another component, and then it will get back to me. So keep in mind how long this operation takes to choose how many sessions you're going to add in the same group. That's actually a rule we do for anything, even if it's internal logic. Your group is a set of action you want to run inside your own protocol. Well, the longer it takes, the longer you will block something. So always pay attention, what's the purpose? What is the goal we would like to achieve? And then you can consider what's the best way. Do I do it all in one, or do I do it in chunks? Make sure I can cancel it along the way. Groups, I have a session. My session, I can add a connection in there. I can add multiple connections with each a request, response, and it's just going to link with a variable. My variable, I could display it as it is, and then you can see the entire text, but I would like to make it useful. So I'm going to translate it using a quick action. Quick action triggers on change of a variable. So whenever I receive information to update it, I get a change, this quick action will run. So I'm going to parse my time, some C# code, going to translate it, and at the end it's going to set the params that I'm displaying. And that's actually it. The only thing I need is an HTTP connection, my sessions there, and make sure I can translate it correctly in a piece of C# code.